This strange-looking sphere might just rewrite the future of energy.
All wind turbines in the market so far have focused on efficiency, but those wind turbines need very steady wind at a very steady direction and wind speed.
It doesn't have blades, it doesn't need to face the wind, and it doesn't even make a sound. In the middle of cities where wind changes direction every second, this tiny invention silently spins, pulling electricity out of the air like magic.
This is ideal for such an environment where whatever direction the wind comes from, the turbine will move in the same axis in the same direction, so you can harvest the energy whatever direction it's going in.
Developed with help from NASA and a pair of young engineers, this bladeless device could challenge everything we thought we knew about renewable energy.
Something like this, for example, which has a balcony in it, so the all balconies lined up, we can place these into such an environment and they can make energy for the dwellers of these apartments right from their home.
Is this just a quirky design? Or are we witnessing the next leap after solar panels? Let's dive in and find out. The birth of the O-Wind Turbine. It all began in a university dorm room in the UK. Two engineering students at Lancaster University, Nicholas Orellana and Yassine Nourani, were fascinated by a simple problem.
Now we know wind turbines are generally available in areas where there's large open spaces.
Why don't traditional wind turbines work well in cities? Tall buildings, narrow alleyways, and chaotic wind patterns make it nearly impossible for conventional turbines to function efficiently in urban spaces. The wind changes direction too frequently. There's not enough room. And residents don't want giant spinning blades outside their windows. But instead of giving up on wind energy, these students saw an opportunity to rethink it completely. Their answer was something no one expected: a spherical structure that doesn't care where the wind is coming from. Sideways, upward, swirling through a street corner, it captures it all.
A wind turbine that can generate energy from wind coming from all different directions, whether vertically, going downwards, upwards, sideways, diagonally, whatever direction it's going in, we can generate electricity from that.
The O-Wind Turbine was born, a small bladeless device that uses geometric vents to spin no matter the wind's direction. Unlike traditional turbines that need to face the wind, this device thrives in turbulent environments. Their innovation was more than clever, it was award-winning. In 2022, they received the James Dyson Award, a global recognition given to inventions that solve real-world problems through design and engineering. But the journey didn't end there. NASA took notice. Along with a startup called O-Innovations, the inventors teamed up with NASA engineers to refine and scale the technology. The goal? To make wind energy accessible, even in dense, unpredictable city environments where solar panels aren't always an option. The timing couldn't be better. Governments around the world are pushing for clean, decentralized energy, and urban areas, once considered unsuitable for wind power, are now seeing new possibilities. With just a fraction of the size and noise of conventional turbines, the O-Wind turbine is starting to look like something we'll see on rooftops, balconies, and even streetlights very soon. How it works, the technology behind the sphere. At first glance, the O-Wind turbine looks like a futuristic sculpture. But inside its simple sphere lies a surprisingly smart mechanism. Unlike traditional wind turbines with long, sharp blades that slice through the air in one direction, this device uses a set of carefully placed vents and internal channels to trap wind from any angle. Here's how it works. When wind hits the surface of the turbine, whether it's from the side, above, or swirling from below, it enters through the openings cut into the sphere. These vents are not randomly placed. They're positioned based on something called Bernoulli's principle, a physics concept that explains how air pressure drops when wind speeds up. As wind flows through the vents, it creates areas of high and low pressure inside the sphere, which forces it to spin around a fixed axis. That spinning motion is connected to a small generator tucked inside the base. As the sphere turns, the generator converts the mechanical energy into electricity, And because the device has no external blades or moving parts exposed to the air, it operates quietly and safely, even in crowded places. The best part? It doesn't need constant strong winds or wide open fields to work. The O-Wind Turbine was designed for the chaos of cities. Wind that gets funneled between buildings or bounces off walls becomes usable. Turbulence, once the enemy of wind power, is now its ally. This omnidirectional approach makes it radically different from anything else on the market. And it's not just about novelty. The design also makes it easier to maintain, cheaper to produce, and far more adaptable to tight urban spaces. While traditional turbines must follow the wind, this one simply waits, ready to catch whatever gusts come its way. O-Wind versus solar, a new kind of competition. For years, solar panels have dominated the renewable energy conversation. Sleek, flat, and easy to install, they've become the go-to solution for homes and businesses trying to cut down on electricity bills. But now, a new competitor is entering the race, and it doesn't need sunshine to work. The O-Wind Turbine offers something solar panels can't: round-the-clock energy generation in unpredictable environments, where solar depends on clear skies and direct sunlight. This device simply waits for the wind to blow, at any hour, from any direction. In cities where sunlight can be blocked by buildings or cloud cover, that's a big deal. So, how do they compare? In terms of energy output, both technologies are surprisingly close. The O-Wind Turbine is estimated to produce around 200 kilowatt-hours per year under moderate wind conditions, enough to power small appliances or charge batteries. A square meter of solar panels, depending on sun exposure, produces roughly 250 kilowatt-hours annually. But solar panels are heavily dependent on weather and placement. While the O-Wind device thrives even in low, shifting winds, cost is another factor. A single O-Wind unit is expected to cost around $200, making it far more affordable upfront than a full solar setup. Installation is simpler too. You don't need a rooftop, you don't need special brackets. You could install one on a balcony or outside a window. There are trade-offs, of course. Solar panels are more established, with decades of field data, proven lifespan, and growing incentives. The O-Wind Turbine is still new, exciting, yes, but still proving itself. But the comparison isn't really about picking one over the other. It's about recognizing that clean energy isn't one size fits all. In the future, a single home might have both panels catching the sun, spheres spinning in the breeze, working together to power a greener life. Why urban areas need a solution like this? Cities are full of energy, but not the kind we usually think of. Between buildings, above rooftops, and through narrow streets, the wind is constantly shifting, swirling, and slipping past unnoticed. Traditional wind turbines don't work well in these environments. They're too big, too loud, and they require open space and consistent wind direction, two things cities simply don't have. That's where the O-Wind Turbine changes everything. Urban areas are home to more than half of the world's population. They also consume the majority of global electricity. Yet when it comes to renewable energy, cities are often left behind. Rooftops can only hold so many solar panels. Shadows from taller buildings reduce efficiency. And installing large wind systems is usually too expensive or impractical. But a small, quiet, omnidirectional turbine? That's a different story. The O-Wind Turbine can fit on a balcony, a fire escape, or even a street lamp. It doesn't need open fields or strong gusts. It just needs motion in the air. Cities are full of that. Even when the air isn't moving in straight lines, the O-Wind can pick up energy from swirling breezes or updrafts between buildings. And then there's the noise, or lack of it. Unlike traditional turbines, this device doesn't whir, chop, or hum. It spins silently. That matters in densely populated neighborhoods where people live just meters apart. No complaints from neighbors, no visual eyesores, just clean, quiet power. In a time when urban centers are searching for smarter, more local solutions to energy needs, The O-Wind Turbine feels like a tool designed for this exact moment. It won't replace every power source, but it could become part of a city's everyday landscape, powering small devices, supporting local grids, and turning forgotten wind into something valuable. From prototype to global potential, what started as a simple university project is now on track to become a global energy solution. After receiving the James Dyson Award in 2022, the O-Wind Turbine quickly attracted serious attention. The design stood out not just for its creativity, but for solving a problem that traditional wind systems have ignored for decades: how to make wind power work in messy, unpredictable city environments. That's when NASA stepped in. The inventors partnered with O-Innovations, a UK-based startup, and began working with engineers from NASA to refine the technology. Together, they're moving the turbine from a promising prototype to a fully functioning, market-ready product. But it's not just technical support they've received. They've also won funding through the US government's Solar for All program, which is part of a $7 billion fund aimed at expanding clean energy access to low-income communities. Additional backing came from the bipartisan infrastructure law, which includes major investments in emerging energy solutions. The interest is not just local, it's global. Orders have already come in from multiple countries. Urban homeowners, small business owners, and even local governments are beginning to see the potential of a device that's compact, low-cost, and easy to install. Of course, challenges remain. Scaling production, ensuring long-term durability, and educating consumers will take time. But the O-Wind Turbine's appeal lies in its simplicity. No blades, no noise, no need for perfect conditions. In a world that's looking for practical, decentralized energy solutions, this little spinning sphere might just have the reach and resilience to make a global impact.
Now first, like always, be sure to hit the like button down below. It helps us out tremendously with the reach of this video. Thank you.
The road ahead. Is this the future of wind energy? The idea of a spinning sphere quietly generating electricity from chaotic wind might have sounded like science fiction a few years ago. But today, the O-Wind Turbine is real and gaining momentum fast. Still, the question remains: is this the future of wind energy or just another overhyped invention? That depends on how it performs outside the lab. Real-world testing will determine how well it stands up to harsh weather, long-term use, and varying wind conditions. Can it power more than just small appliances? Will it stay efficient over the years, not just months? These are questions only time and scale can answer. Yet, what makes the O-Wind Turbine truly exciting is its potential to fill gaps. Not every home can install a full solar setup. Not every country has access to large-scale wind farms. But a $200 device that works on a balcony without noise or complicated setup? That's a compelling offer for millions. Its modular design means future versions could be even more powerful. They could be stacked, grouped, or built into buildings. Some experts even imagine smart systems where these turbines talk to each other, optimizing energy capture across entire city blocks. No single technology will solve the energy crisis, but the future will likely be a patchwork of innovations. The O-Wind Turbine may be one of those small but powerful pieces, spinning quietly, unnoticed, while helping us edge closer to a cleaner, more independent energy future. Its success won't be measured in hype, but in how many lives it can power, silently and sustainably. Final thoughts: a small spin, a big shift. Sometimes the most powerful changes come from the quietest places. The O-Wind Turbine doesn't roar like a jet or shine like a solar panel. It spins gently, almost invisibly, using something we often overlook: wind that moves through our cities every single day. And in doing so, it reminds us that innovation doesn't always have to be loud or massive to make an impact. This technology won't change the world overnight, But it doesn't have to. It just needs to find its way into the hands of people who need it most. Urban communities, low-income households, and renters without rooftops. People who've been left out of the renewable energy conversation for too long. Its true potential lies in its accessibility. Anyone with a wall, a window, or a small outdoor space could one day generate their power. Not as a replacement for the grid, but as a quiet supplement, something personal, local, and reliable. That's what makes it powerful. Not just the engineering, but the idea that clean energy doesn't have to be distant, complex, or expensive. It can be as simple as a spinning sphere outside your window. The road ahead will require patience, testing, and trust. But if it succeeds, the O-Wind Turbine might mark a turning point, not just for wind technology, but for how we think about where our energy comes from. In a world full of noise, maybe the future starts with something quiet, something small, something that spins. Outro, a new chapter in clean energy. We've come a long way from massive wind farms and endless rows of solar panels. The O-Wind Turbine represents something different, a shift toward energy that's smaller, smarter, and closer to home. It challenges the idea that you need space, sunshine, or steady wind direction to be part of the renewable movement. Instead, it offers a simple truth. If the wind is moving, energy is possible. This isn't just about a gadget. It's about reimagining how we live with energy. Picture a city where balconies spin with silent turbines, where streetlights power themselves, where even the tightest urban corners generate clean electricity without anyone noticing. That's not science fiction anymore. It's a direction we're heading in, and the O-Wind Turbine might just be leading the way. Of course, every technology has its limits. We need more testing, broader adoption, and smarter infrastructure to support it. But the concept is already sparking a new kind of curiosity, one that questions what's possible in the spaces we once ignored. So is the O-Wind Turbine the future of green energy? Maybe not the whole future, but it could be a piece of it. A vital, quiet, and deeply clever piece that belongs in our homes, our cities, and our energy conversations. If we pay attention to the wind that swirls around us and build tools that understand it, we might just find power in places we never expected. Thanks for watching. If this sparked your curiosity, consider subscribing for more ideas that could shape the future. What this means for you. You don't need to be an engineer, a scientist, or an environmental activist to feel the impact of the O-Wind turbine. This invention speaks directly to everyday people, especially those living in cities, renting small spaces, or simply looking for more control over their energy use. If you've ever looked at your utility bill and felt powerless, this device could offer a quiet kind of freedom. Think about it. No more relying entirely on a central grid. No more worrying about cloudy days ruining your solar output. If you have wind, even unpredictable, messy city wind, you have potential power. That means backup energy during outages, lower electricity bills, and maybe even a step toward energy independence. And it's not just about money, it's about mindset. The O-Wind Turbine invites people to participate in the energy conversation, not just as consumers, but as producers. It shifts energy from something industrial and distant to something personal and local. And that shift can change how we think about our role in the climate crisis. You won't need a field. You won't need full sun. You'll just need a place where the wind flows and a willingness to try something new. For city dwellers, apartment owners, students, small shopkeepers, and anyone who's felt left out of the green revolution, this might be the first step. A simple, affordable spin toward a cleaner future. So the question isn't just what the O-Wind Turbine is, it's what you could do with it. The bigger picture. Energy for everyone. Behind the buzz around the O-Wind Turbine lies something deeper. a vision of energy that belongs to everyone. For too long, clean power has felt like a luxury, available to those with rooftops, land, or large budgets. But this tiny spinning sphere challenges that idea. It's a reminder that renewable energy doesn't have to be out of reach. It can be affordable, accessible, and adaptable to the way we live. This shift isn't just technical, it's social. When energy becomes something you can generate yourself, it changes your relationship with the world around you. You start noticing the wind outside your window. You begin to see potential in places others ignore. And slowly, power stops being something distant and invisible. It becomes part of your daily life, quietly humming in the background, doing its job without taking up space or demanding attention. That kind of change ripples outward. If devices like the O-Wind Turbine become widespread, they could reduce pressure on overloaded grids, support energy access in underserved areas, and help cities reach their climate goals without massive overhauls. It won't replace all other solutions, but it doesn't have to. It just needs to add one more layer to the renewable energy puzzle. Because when it comes to the future, it won't be built by a single invention. It will come from thousands of small decisions made by people who believe energy should be local, clean, and shared. And maybe, just maybe, it starts with a sphere that spins. The wind outside your window might seem like nothing, but with the right tool, it could power your future. The O-Wind Turbine isn't just an invention. It's a new way of thinking about energy, quiet, local, and accessible to everyone. Whether you live in a crowded city or a small apartment, this tiny sphere holds big promise. As we move toward a cleaner world, it's innovations like this that remind us change doesn't have to be loud to be revolutionary. What role will you play in this energy shift? Let us know in the comments, and as always, stay curious.